Welcome back. We were talking about culture and its influence on our daily life. My question is, what is the influence of Bengali literature on Bangla culture?
Very important question. In fact, any literature in any language has a profound influence in the making of culture. As I mentioned before, the culture is the expression of intellectual faculties or intellectual abilities. In the making of changing intellectual attributes of a man or woman, you see, education, let's say literature plays a major role. Literature, in fact, it is one sort of education. Education may be proper education.
It is part of education.
Part of education. It's the process of education. And education is the most powerful tool in the making of culture.
Right.
You see, if we look at history of Islam, what is the most powerful tool in shaping Muslims' behavior, attitude, everything? It is Quran. And the Sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that knowledge. Start with knowledge. If you want to bring any cultural revolution, then knowledge is the most powerful tool. Now come to the Bengali culture, or it's a Bengali literature. Actually, in the making of Bengali culture, Bengali literature has a profound influence. Unfortunately, the Bengali literature mostly are written by the Hindus, you see, non-Muslims.
But was that literature really, I mean, a story or a novel written by a non-Muslim, will it be different from that of written by a Muslim?
Of course, there is a difference. Why the culture of Iran is different from culture of Bengal? Why? There is different attitude. Now I'm telling you one thing. I was in Iran for 10 years. I got a cultural shock when I saw that you say our accountant's father, he was sweeping the floor of the hospital. I was shocked when I saw now he's the president of Iran. I had some opportunity to go to spend some time with him. He was introducing his cousin, first cousin. He's a barber. I had a cultural shock because in Bengal, no Muslim does the job of barber. It is done by the scheduled caste Hindus.
Yeah.
You see, this is the thing.
But we accepted that.
We accepted that. But Iranian people, why different? Why in the making of culture so different? You see, once I was in Iran, then there was a delegation talk. You see, then a few academics and one religious scholar, they're asking, who made the Iranian culture? Then what they are talking about, they are telling that Sheikh Sadi, Hafiz, they are the pioneer in building culture.
The poets and the literary figures.
Actually, the literature, you see, the knowledge goes to the people through literature.
Right.
Like, you see, water supply. How do you get water supply to your home? To the pipelines.
Right.
The literature works as a pipeline to disseminate thoughts, ideas, education, all these things. So literature is a very powerful tool in the making of culture. Quran, you see, few people understand Quran, but the Quranic thought transmits through the literature. So in a Muslim, literature became a vehicle of transmitting the Quranic concepts, Sunnah, teachings of Prophet, all these things.
Right.
The same way, the Hindu, when he will write something in his poems or in prose, it's novels, everything, you will take teaching from Ramayana, Mahabharata, Ved, all these things, Upanishad, and then that will transmit. Go to Bankim Chandra, Sharad Chandra, Rabindranath Tagore. They use their literature as a vehicle to transmit their.
Right. Similarly, Nazrul Islam used his.
Yeah, Nazrul Islam,
his poetry too.
Yeah, Nazrul Islam tried to disseminate the Islamic concept. So this is the culture.
Right.
You see, in the making of culture, literature plays a very, very important role. And who writes the literature, he determines which way the culture should go. That's the important thing.
But this is like something like in the hands of so many irresponsible people, because they can do anything with their knowledge and literature.
Yeah, this is called cultural anarchy. It's a cultural anarchy. You see, now we can, so a lot of people look like this, now social media. Everybody now is disseminating
He's on social media and is spreading his
in the
ideas.
name of freedom. You see, in those days, I say, those who are the people of knowledge, they used to engage in giving education to others.
Yeah.
So there's some proper education. Now there is a miseducation. You see, corrupting the mind, miseducation. You see, they are spreading the sick ideas. So this is cultural. You can say, now they are destroying the people's
Established
established
norms.
culture, established norms, established behavior. One thing I'm telling one thing. Cultural, you know that there is, in economy, there is a term called social capital.
Right.
Social capital. It is very powerful tool in industrial progress even. Money cannot bring any development unless you have social capital. What is social capital? Social capital means this is the honesty of the people, work habits of the people, ethics of the people, honesty, all these things is the part of the social capital. And the making of social capital, also the education and the religious beliefs, all this to work together. Honesty of a man who is very pious, his honesty is always different from the other people. So the making of social capital, you see, religion plays an important part.
Right.
Again, comes through culture.
Influencing the economy.
Yeah, influencing the economy, yes.
Do writers, academics, thinkers, poets have a role to play here in influencing the opinions of people, changing their norms, their rituals? We have been talking about knowledge influences people, see. And there's another thing is like songs, poetry, dancing. This is also part of our culture. If you talk of Islam, probably you will say no. See, but then again, whether we like it or not, wherever we live, there is a dominant culture of sing-song and showing our pleasure at the times of like New Year. We know it for sure that Christmas is not the birth time of Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, but people celebrate that as a birthday. See. So can it be detached? No. In this society, in this day and age, we have become part of the whole thing, and it is taking us somewhere we do not know.
No, actually, religion has an important role, has an impact, has an important impact on culture.
Yeah.
How you will express your joy? Religious put a regulation. You see, it's a restriction.
Right. I
See,
mean, like you
can
talked about,
start through the dancing and drinking wines and all this, celebrating these things.
like you talked about Diwali in Jaipur, see.
Yeah.
Like we had here Happy New Year here, see. And at near London, probably 8 million pounds worth of crackers and
in Islam, it is haram. It is haram.
you went into
So
smoke.
your celebration, your grief, how do you express your grief? How do you express your joy? Islam puts some restriction.
Right.
This is Islam. So you cannot be without any restrictions. As I told you, in Jaipur, they spend millions of dollar, you can say,
Right.
Say thousands of crore of Indian rupees in celebrating, decorating the houses and the streets and all these things, and the largest number of poor people live in India. In the largest number
but
in
they
the whole
always
world.
justify that this is our religious function, see. So as they did here, see, Happy New Year celebrations, see, and 8 million pound worth of crackers went up.
Not only that, millions of trees are cut off.
Yes.
You see, we are talking about environmental things, pollution, the trees are taken just to decorate.
This is industry.
Yeah.
See?
So-
Christmas trees are nurtured, cultured.
Nurtured. So how much effort, money was put to grow these trees and then cut off and throw to the dustbins.
This is consumerism.
Consumerism. Islam doesn't like these things. It is, in Islam it is haram. To bring down a leaf of tree is a haram.
Right.
You see, you cannot cut a tree just for your consumerism.
Not for fun, but if
Not
it
for
is
fun.
needed, then of course
Yeah,
you
for-
would
for
need
fun.
wood to
For
make
cel-
tables.
Your celebration should not cause a cost on the environment, on people's life, on people's economy, all these things. As I told you in India, you see, Islam beauty. How can you see in Bangladesh, not a rich country, hundreds of crores of dollar goes from the rich people's pocket to the poor people's pocket. Understand? India, whereas in India, you can say third largest or fourth largest economy, but largest number of poor people live in India.
Yeah.
Why? Because distribution of wealth, as encouraged by Islam, is not working there. So culture, this is culture. This is a part of culture. Islam, the culture, you see, Islamic culture is so rich because of these things. It puts restriction, it gives encouragement, how to celebrate your joys, and yeah, all these things are part of culture.
I have a question. Probably you have an answer. How would you describe what is Bengali culture?
It's very difficult to how the Bengali people express their feelings, their faith, their ideas, their intellectual abilities. This is Bengali culture.
Right.
And since we, the Bengalis, are different people, some are Hindus, some are Muslims, some Buddhists, some Christians. So everybody has their own ideas,
Right.
some faith, some concept. So this is so you cannot say it is a homogeneous thing. Bengali culture, that is a homogeneous thing.
No, but
it is a combination. It is a conglomeration. You can
Right.
say.
But what about those of us who have decided to live in the West? See, we still try to hang on to our culture. We still celebrate Poila Boshak, see, Naboborsho. We still do that, see, in the faint hope that we pass it on to our children. We are teaching our children Bangla language. We are trying to teach them some dance, some part of the culture, some literature, in the hope that even if we live here, we will try to hang on to our culture, see. But living in the West and trying to, you see, there is a generation of people who went from India to Africa, see. Their main cultural connection with India is Bollywood films, nothing else. They don't just speak the language. Some of them do, but most of them don't. Though they are Indians, but not from India. Is that going to happen to us?
Yes, that's the thing. Very important issue, in fact. In fact, I should say, there must be some well-educated cultural players. If you want to build a country, you need very well-trained, well-educated, thoughtful people as political players. If you do not have good political players, then you do not have a good country. The same thing, if you do not have a good cultural player, you will not get good culture and good people. As I told you that fish cannot survive without water,
Right.
and the people cannot live without a good culture. Culture is so powerful. You see, Quranic teaching live among us through culture, through education. So good culture is most important part. But one thing that Boishaki Mela or other things, how much they are helping us to educate us, to in shaping
Yeah.
our character, our character, our attitude, our conscience.
I understand what you're saying, see, but a lot of people say that don't try to educate in everything. Let's leave something for entertainment and enjoyment.
Entertainment actually should be also a part of our culture, and it should help the entertainment. Suppose we
Thank you very much. It was a very entertaining discussion.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much for calling me.
Thank you very much for being with us, my audience. I hope that you've enjoyed the show as much as we have. Next week also we are going to have a bit of culture. Bye for now. Take care.